Hey there, today we're going to talk about 3 ways to deal with an employee who's grieving at work. My name is Adwoa and welcome to today's video. I have been, unfortunately, on both ends of the spectrum. I've been the employee who is definitely grieving. I've lost my mom and my brother and had to return back to work. I have been the employee who is trying to be a great teammate and a great colleague to somebody else who's grieving. Today, I wanted to give some insight into the process that a person who's grieving at work tends to go through. The first thing to remember is that grief is not linear. So don't feel as the person grieving that because it's been 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, 9 months that you're supposed to feel a certain way. You feel however it is that you're gonna feel. The same thing goes for you if you're that teammate or that colleague who has that grieving employee at work. Just know that that person will have good days and bad days. And just because it's been a certain amount of time doesn't mean that that person isn't perhaps still grieving quite a bit the loss of that important person in their life. The second thing to remember is that we actually do want to talk about that person that we lost. A lot of people, especially at work, mention it in the beginning when it's fresh. They offer their condolences, they attend services, or they send things to your home, and then they never talk about it again. Now, let me just say, I know that if you're not asking about the employee's lost loved one, it's not because you don't care, it's because it's uncomfortable. But what I would encourage you to do is when that person mentions that lost loved one, don't quickly change the subject. Let them go through that process of saying whatever it is they want to say about that person. And the third thing to remember is that you should check in with that person periodically. Even if that person never, ever brings up their lost loved one, you should bring up their lost loved one by simply checking in and asking that person, how are you doing? Like, how are you dealing with the loss? Is everything okay? Are you getting enough support? Don't feel like you have to have the perfect words. Simply asking is so helpful to that person that's grieving. So when do you ask? I think it's a great practice to ask, maybe once a quarter, once every few months, just check in with that person. You could even make it so technical as to put an Outlook reminder on your calendar to just check in. Have a conversation, 5-10 minutes or less, depending on what that person wants. Showing up that way for that grieving employee will allow that grieving employee to feel more supported so that they can transition hopefully more effectively and quickly out of that grieving position that they're in. Okay, so those are my 3 tips for you on how to navigate when you have a grieving employee at work. And for all of my fellow employees who have dealt with grief at work and are still potentially dealing with grief at work, I hope this video helps you better understand and echo some of the things you may be feeling as you're going through the process. So keep your head up, it always gets better. If you're digging this video, here's what you do. You like it and you share it. And if you think you need more of what we're doing here, I want you to please head over to the site that's listed right here and sign up for email updates. Organizations all over the world need that unique gift that only you bring. So go out into the world today and act with conviction. Be courageous and live joyfully every single day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I cannot wait to see you again at our very next video.